Welcome to the fourth segment of Nutrition and Dietetics by TrekFit. This is the fourth video in a continuing series designed to teach you about proper nutrition for health. This whole series is best viewed from the beginning in order to understand about the basics. So if you have not seen the previous videos, you can find the start of the series in the link provided. So today we're going to talk about carbohydrates. So you will understand why you should not be afraid of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the body's major and preferred sources of energy. I will show you what happens if we deprive our body from its main and preferred source of energy. 45% to 65% of our daily calories should come from carbohydrates. As mentioned, carbohydrates provide energy for the body, especially the brain and the nervous system. Carbohydrates will protect the muscles by saving the proteins from being used for energy. Carbohydrates protect fats from being deprived of their important functions. So by this token, carbohydrates are very important for growth, development, and maintenance, such as in body organs, nerve cells, and blood groups. So what happens after we eat carbohydrates? As mentioned, carbohydrates are the most efficient fuel because its main purpose is to provide energy for the body. However, it is also important to understand how the body utilizes carbohydrates. When you eat carbohydrates, first the body converts just enough amount into glucose or blood sugar. The extra amount will be stored in the muscles as glycogen. The rest is sent to the liver for storage, also as glycogen. So what happens if we eat too much or less carbohydrates than the body needs? Well, let's find out. If too much glucose is sent to the liver for storage as glycogen, the liver will transform that glycogen surplus into fat to be deposited in fatty tissues around the body. So piling up more than the body's storage capacity of energy can end up in the fat storage. That's because the body's capacity to hold up energy in the form of glycogen is only a half day's worth, which must first be converted back to glucose or blood sugar, while the body's blood system can only hold an hour's supply of glucose or blood sugar. So, the greater the carbohydrate surplus, the greater the likelihood of obesity. And we will talk about obesity in another video. Likewise, piling up supply of blood glucose or blood sugar can be dangerous, especially in conditions where the body's ability to utilize sugar efficiently is diminished, like what happens in diabetes. Now, what happens when you do not eat carbohydrates? There would not be enough glucose available for the body to use for energy. And when this happens, serious health problems can occur. This means that if glycogen is used up, the body will turn to fat and proteins for help. This would deprive them from their important body functions. Fat alone cannot remake enough glucose to give energy to the brain and the nervous system. In order to break down fat efficiently, carbohydrates still must be available to help. Without carbohydrates, fat, in an effort to break down its fragments to provide energy, will instead produce excessive amounts of toxic byproducts called ketones. An accumulation of ketones in the blood is called ketosis, which can cause serious consequences, including coma and even death. This is why severe carbohydrate deficit due to fasting and dieting on a very low carbohydrate diet becomes so dangerous. Ketogenic diet is not a good way to lose weight because you are depriving the body of that important source of energy, carbohydrates. It would seem like pumping diesel gas into your vehicle's unleaded engine. Yes, the car can run for a few miles, but the engine will, at some point, quit working. In contrast, the body can go on for a while, but depriving it with the main energy source can affect the body's overall performance or functions. As a reminder, the brain is the most important organ in the body that has the priority needs for glucose or blood sugar for energy. So depriving it from its main source of energy can have a very dangerous effect on the bodily functions. In another case scenario is when the body turns to protein for help. It will break down the muscles and other protein tissues to produce glucose for energy. Remember, the other important organs such as heart, the kidneys, and the liver are made up of muscle tissues. If these tissues continue to be broken down, the result can be fatal. Therefore, carbohydrate intake is important so that glucose is readily available anytime the body needs energy. This is why many of us registered dietitians, nutritionists say there is no better substitute for carbohydrates. That is because carbohydrates not only have the ability to produce efficient energy, but also save protein and fat from being deprived of their important functions in the body. So carbohydrates work so hard to do the balancing action for proteins and fats. As the main and preferred source of the body's energy, carbohydrates are good for endurance activities. So why should we not be afraid of carbohydrates? As mentioned, it's because carbohydrates are the main fuel for energy in the body. It functions in growth and development from infancy to childhood to adulthood and maintenance through the aging process. Secondly, it is important to know what happens if we eat too much or too less of carbohydrates. Understanding these two reasons is a way to manage the body's ability and the need to stay healthy, and why you should not be afraid of carbohydrates. There are two classes of carbohydrates. First, complex carbohydrates are found in fruits, vegetables, grains, and grain products. They contain higher nutritional value because not only that they provide calories, they are also rich in vitamins, minerals, and dietary fibers. Carbohydrates that are complex in nature are referred to as good carbs for being a good source of the body's preferred sources of energy. They are the brain and muscles fuel sources. They are the most efficient sources of endurance energy. They are the good sources of dietary fiber. Simple carbohydrates are those that are simple sugars or table sugars and are quickly broken down by the body for quick energy use. So this is not the most efficient source of energy. Although simple carbohydrates also provide calories, however, these calories are of no nutritional values due to they lack vitamins, minerals, and dietary fiber that are essential for normal body functions. This is why carbohydrates of this simple nature are referred to as empty calories and can lead to weight gain. Consuming too much of these can load up the calories, leading to weight gain or obesity. They can easily adversely affect blood sugar control in diabetics. Thank you again, and stay tuned for our next videos where you will learn the other nutrients such as proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Thank you very much.